particularly closer to downtown. If you live in that particular part of town, it's an extremely safe part of town as far as there's very few traffic accidents. There's very few issues as far as safety traffic wise. But we do substantially more traffic stops in those communities. Normally the reason you would make a traffic stop would be either slow traffic down or, try to stop traffic accidents. You're making traffic stops for some type of safety issue. Yet in one of the most safest places in town, traffic-wise, not crime-wise, we're making more stops. That to me, not only are we making more stops, but we write less tickets. So we're doing substantially more, not just a little. I mean, it's statistically substantial. We're doing statistically substantially more traffic stops, but statistically substantially less tickets. So to me, if we're making more stops with less tickets, that means we're stopping a lot of people for no reason. Otherwise, I mean, when you're saying it's drastically different than any other community, there has to be a reason for it. That would be my reason. Plus, I work the neighborhood. I kind of know our philosophy. Our philosophy is go in there, let's stop people, let's see if they have drugs. If they have drugs, let's throw them in jail. I don't think that solves our problem, and I don't think it's necessarily fair. I mean, I'm all about if you're doing drugs, let's throw you in jail. But if you're driving around in your car, I don't think we could do that in Marsh Landing. I don't think we could do that in the Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. I don't think we could just pull someone over, throw them in jail, find a bag of weed, and that would be acceptable.
Theoretically, probable cause is the same throughout the county, but you're suggesting that it's not treated that way.
Correct. I'm saying statistically, probable cause should be consistent throughout the county, and we have a statistical anomaly in certain parts of our community, and there has to be a reason for it.
And you're not finding anything.
I think the reason is that we're treating them unfairly.
What's your view on civilian report?
Oh, I drastically think there's a lot more civilian intervention that needs to be done at JSO. I think the newspaper needs to be allowed in to see what's going on more. I think civilians need to be able to see what's going on more. I think there's a lot of things that are hidden in JSO that people just aren't aware of. And that's certainly one thing I would like. If I become sheriff, the newspapers and the media will be allowed full access. Not confidential information, but full access to understand what's going on. And we do now. We have private meetings that JSO will not allow the media in. And it's not stuff that's confidential. It's program leadership directive type meetings.
Well, we're 7 minutes overdue. We want to ask everybody the same question. So, question number 5, we're trying to ask everyone, manpower, is it adequate? Do you think we need more? Do we need less? What's your position on staffing right now?
We need exactly what we have, but we need more of the people fighting crime. There's only one statistically proven thing in the world that can solve murder. That's police officers in their cars or on motorcycles driving on the streets. Unless we have more officers riding on the streets, we will never get the murder rate down. We continually stop by and ask any police officer face to face outside of Walmart on the street, go up to them and say, do you feel that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is pulling people off the streets unnecessary? And I assure you, privately, they'll tell you yes. It's a constant complaint between all officers that there's too many people being pulled off the street for special projects. So we have plenty of officers. We need to use them in an effective way to solve the problems that we have.
An effective way would be get them on the streets.
Get them on the street, drive around on the street.
The next question I have is related to Class 3 weaponry, suppressors, short barrel rifles. As if elected sheriff, you would have to sign off to allow a person to get those. When and wouldn't you allow somebody to acquire one of these items? It's just because I want it and they have a clean background, is that sufficient? Or do they need to be a collector? What criteria would you use to make a determination whether you would sign that?
Honestly, not something I gave a lot of thought to. My general indication is that I like the policy that we have now. I don't see, I can't think of a reason to change the current policy we have right now. The current sheriff is kind of known to be extremely conservative on this issue, and meaning it's very limited. So I guess I'd have to fully analyze it. But
There is no policy, it's arbitrary determined by the sheriff.
well, but I think what he has been doing has been fairly conservative on it. So I guess you just want my opinion on it.
Yeah, what would you do?
What would I do? I would certainly, obviously, want a background check. I'd want a national background check on them. I wouldn't want a violent history. But I'm definitely not against limiting it. I'm not against taking it away for no reason. But I'm definitely interested in investigating if we have reasons, then not issuing it. Does that come across well enough?
I think so. Take home police car, do you, what's your position on that? Do you think they should be able to take them home or out of the county? How far?
I'm 100% supportive of taking home police cars. It's absolutely more efficient. One of the things that I would do differently, I would do it more like the Florida Highway Patrol and Clay County, other agencies. Other agents allow you that when you get in your police car, you can immediately start working. The way the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office does, let's say you work like down at 210, but you work in Zone 6, and there's not really a whole lot done to try to figure out where people live as to where they should work. So we have an awful lot of people that are required to work, say, up by the airport, but they live down in 210. So I'd like to facilitate people being able to work closer to where they live. But having your own personal car, make sure you have all the forms that you need, you have the guns that you need, you have the equipment you need, in case of emergency or, you know, a hurricane, even something such as that. You have your police car, it's ready for you, it's available for you.
Okay, and the last question that we've asked the prior candidates, open carry, there's some states that allow open carry. How do you feel about that? Comfortable with that or not, or?
Very comfortable with it.
Okay.
We have a strict policy right now that when you're off duty, that your weapons should not be seen. I would like.
I mean, and with respect to citizens.
Oh, with
civilians.
respect to civilians?
Yes.
Um,
Like,
Walking down the street with 6 gun.
I personally don't have an issue with it. My issue comes into play as in what you see in California, and it's kind of semi a train wreck in California, because then you have the stores that don't want it. So now you have the commercial areas that are saying, you know, you can't bring it into the Starbucks, you can't bring it into the grocery store here. So the property owners are limiting it, but the government's saying you can do it. And then it just seems to be, it seems to be the most fair thing that civilians carry concealed to all parties. As far as me personally, I have no issue with people open carrying. I mean, I think theoretically it could reduce crime. I think as a population that we're against it, and I don't see how it's a workable model personally.
all right, I yield to the chair, remind the committee that we're.
Yes, that we have 2
one
minutes
slot
left for
off.
Mr. Soren, so let's, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And